প্রিয় দর্শক, আপনারা জানেন চ্যানেলে এক্সক্লুসিভ এমন একটি অনুষ্ঠান, এখানে দেশ বিদেশের স্বনামখ্যাত এবং প্রতিষ্ঠিত ব্যক্তিত্বদের সাক্ষাৎকার ভিত্তিক তারা তাদের এই বর্ণাঢ্য ক্যারিয়ারের নানা বিষয় আপনাদের সঙ্গে শেয়ার করেন। আজ আমরা স্টুডিওতে পেয়েছি, আমাদের সঙ্গে আছেন USAIDর বিদায়ী মিশন ডিরেক্টর মিস্টার রিচার্ড গ্রিন।
1978 সালে যুক্তরাষ্ট্র সরকারের চাকরিতে যোগদানের মাধ্যমে ক্যারিয়ার শুরু রিচার্ড গ্রিনের। পরবর্তীতে তিনি কেন্দ্রীয় সরকারের টিকাদান কর্মসূচিতে কাজ করেছেন। 1984 সালে USAIDর হয়ে সুদানে এবং ক্যামেরুনে কাজ করেছেন তিনি। মিশন পরিচালক হিসেবে এই মেয়াদে বাংলাদেশে আসার আগে 94 সালে স্বাস্থ্য উন্নয়ন কর্মী হিসেবে কাজ করেছেন রিচার্ড গ্রিন। 2011 সালের জুলাই থেকে তিনি বাংলাদেশে মিশন পরিচালক হিসেবে কাজ করছেন। জনস্বাস্থ্য এবং ইতিহাসে স্নাতকোত্তর রিচার্ড গ্রিন 20টিরও বেশি দেশে কাজ করেছেন।
গ্রিন, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ ফর গিভিং চ্যানেল আই টাইম। দর্শক, তার আগে একটু আপনাদের জানিয়ে রাখি, USAID বাংলাদেশে নানা ধরনের উন্নয়নমূলক কর্মকাণ্ড বাস্তবায়ন করে থাকে এবং মার্কিন যুক্তরাষ্ট্র সরকার স্বাধীনতার পর 1972 থেকে এ পর্যন্ত প্রায় $6 বিলিয়ন ইনভেস্টমেন্ট করেছে USAIDর মাধ্যমে। তো আপনারা আজকে মিস্টার গ্রিনের কাছ থেকে শুনবেন যে মিস্টার গ্রিন প্রায় 2 বছরেরও বেশি বাংলাদেশে USAID মিশন ডিরেক্টর হিসেবে এখানে দায়িত্ব পালন করেছেন এবং তিনি যুক্তরাষ্ট্রে ফিরে যাচ্ছেন। আপনারা জানেন যে যুক্তরাষ্ট্র সরকারের একটা বড় কর্মসূচি আছে, ফিড দ্য ফিউচার প্রোগ্রাম, এবং সেটা গ্লোবাল ইনিশিয়েটিভের সঙ্গে মিস্টার গ্রিনকে আরও অতিরিক্ত দায়িত্ব দিয়ে যুক্তরাষ্ট্র সরকার তাকে বাংলাদেশ থেকে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে। চলুন আমরা মিস্টার গ্রিনের সঙ্গে কথা বলি, তার কাছ থেকে শুনি ওনার ভবিষ্যৎ পরিকল্পনা এবং বাংলাদেশে অবস্থানকালীন সময় তার অভিজ্ঞতা। মিস্টার গ্রিন, হাউ আর ইউ স্যার?
I'm great, thank you very much.
First of all, let me ask you, the US government's Feed the Future initiative aligns with the government of Bangladesh 6th five-year plan. Food for Peace resources is aligned to increase agricultural productivity, income generation, access to food, and improve nutrition and dietary diversity. So let us know what is the advancement so far.
Well, Bangladesh has made great strides in agriculture. Bangladesh is now rice self-sufficient in this country, including areas such as Barisal district, which has traditionally been rice deficient. It has now a rice surplus in good weather season. So there's been tremendous progress. But what Bangladesh needs to do is to increase the efficiency of rice production so that the farmers can diversify into higher value crops. By that I mean vegetables and fish, which are both more nutritious and higher value than rice.
So what the USAID has done over the years regarding this issue?
Well, USAID has helped the government of Bangladesh implement its country investment plan in agriculture, food security, and nutrition. We've had very large programs in fertilizer, in high-yielding seeds, in horticulture, vegetables, and in fish. And now we've launched 3 major nutrition programs in southern Bangladesh, which is our area of focus. And those nutrition programs are aimed at reducing child stunting, which unfortunately affects more than 40% of Bangladeshi children. So our programs will provide nutrition counseling, micronutrients, we'll do home visits, promote dietary diversity so that small children, infants, are not fed just rice. They're fed rice, some animal protein, some vegetables, and they have a balanced diet. And mothers practice hand washing and good hygiene so that young children don't get infections, which end up in undernutrition and stunting. Our programs are going to help reduce this rate of stunting in the South, but it's going to be a difficult process, and it's going to involve agriculture, it's going to involve education, it's going to involve health, and a lot on hygiene and sanitation.
Mr. Green, you are talking about stunting, malnutrition, and we are going to next question. promoting democracy and governance is an important objective of US foreign policy and is very critical to Bangladesh development. You are about to finish your tenure by this time, and I came to know that you had a chance to work in Bangladesh before this time.
Correct.
So you have had chance to mix up with civil society activists, the media professionals, and politicians. So what is your reading regarding the future of democracy in Bangladesh?
Well, Bangladesh is a democracy, but this is an activity, this is a status that you constantly have to work at, both democracy and good governance. And I think the most important thing is transparency, a strong media that can make people aware of the issues. I think people have to get involved in their local government, in their political parties. They have to get involved in the issues that are raised before Parliament. And the media plays a critical role in this. The democracies are really generated and move forward by public involvement.
So, okay, we are moving on to next question. We know USAID has invested so many resources to improve some of the selected forests like Lawachora. We'd be happy to know, how did you engage the local people? How did you do that?
Well, we never work alone in this country. We work with the Ministry of Environment and Forests, we work with the Forest Department, we work with local communities. The most important thing for protected wetlands and forests is the community management of these resources. If the communities are involved in conserving these forests and wetlands, then they'll make sure that these natural resources are protected. Now, the other thing, of course, is we have to give income generation, we have to give jobs to people who live in the parks and around the parks. Because if people who live near the forest don't have any work, then they will cut down the trees. So by promoting good jobs for those people who live in and around forests, that prevents the forest and the trees from being cut down.
Is it in line with the program of sustainable environment?
Well, the communities have to take part in managing forests and these wetlands. They have to be involved in making sure that there's no poaching, making sure that there is conservation of the waterways, and making sure that people don't come in and start encroaching on these protected areas. So without the community oversight, there's no way of protecting the very scarce forests and wetlands that remain in Bangladesh. Well, USAID, through several projects, have supported 25 of the 35 protected forests and wetlands in this country. We now have a $33 million 5-year project in natural resource management, which works in these areas. For us, as I say, we help the community work with the Forest Department and local government to manage these resources. We help to create jobs for the people who live in and around National Park. We help protect the water source, and we can even help in terms of reforestation. So there's a lot that USAID is able to do, but only if the community is committed and we continue to get the leadership of the Forest Department and the Ministry of Environment and Forests.
How the government machinery is responded to all the things in regard this forest management and environment management, and do you have any suggestion for the future plan of action regarding the sustainable environment, as it is becoming a very critical issue for the Bangladesh development?
Well, I think there are issues regarding leasing of wetlands, which I understand that the Ministry of Land and the Ministry of Environment and Forests, to make sure that land is under the co-management of communities, and they're very careful about any leasing to the private sector that are done with very fragile landscapes such as wetlands. But I think the local government plays a critical role also in the oversight of these areas. After all, less than 2% of Bangladesh is now forest areas, one of the smallest proportions in the entire world, and we need to protect those forests that remain.
Greene, I feel lucky as I had the chance to visit Godkhali. I think you haven't forgotten
Yes.
Godkhali, the flower kingdom.
Yes.
So you have also visited Godkhali, Joshua, the Kingdom of Flower, with His Excellency US Ambassador Dan Mozena and Mr. Shaikh Shiraz. Is there any assistance that USAID would like to extend for the flower farmers of Godkhali in future?
Well, you know, I have a long history in flowers. My grandfather started one of the largest flower stores in Boston, Massachusetts. And when I grew up, I worked in my grandfather's flower store. And then my father started a flower store. And so I understand how in a growing economy like Bangladesh, there's tremendous demand for flowers. Eventually even possibly to export some flowers. And that was a great trip, seeing some of these flower cultivation gardens and farms, and I think there's tremendous potential. Now, USAID is very interested in promoting value chains for promising agribusinesses, such as flowers. Whether we will pick flowers as an industry that we want to support, I don't know, but we're looking at a number of different agricultural products in terms of their value chains to promote economic growth, including such things as maize, including horticulture, fish, some primarily for internal markets and others possibly for export.
Mr. Greene, we are just going to end the interview, but before that, if I can ask you, do you have any suggestions or any recommendation for the improvement of agriculture?
Well, I think we need to continue to improve agricultural extension services. I think we need to improve the quality of agricultural inputs, which include seed, fertilizer, water, extending credit to small farmers and small agribusinesses. I think we have to put more effort into post-harvest. There's a lot of loss that happens post-harvest, and I think we have to build value chains so we have value added on some of these products. So there's a lot of work to do, but the good news is there's been tremendous progress, as I said at the beginning, in promoting rice self-sufficiency. Now the challenge is to promote food self-sufficiency, and that involves a balanced diet. And this is why we're so interested in fish, a source of protein, and vegetables, which is also a source of micronutrients and minerals.
We know that the US government and USAID is very keen to promote the women, and you are working to promote the women entrepreneurs and the women who are engaged in the agricultural sector. So will you please tell us, for the Channel I viewers, that what you are doing regarding the women empowerment?
Well, women's empowerment is more than a human rights issue, and it's an important human rights issue. It's also an issue directly related to economic growth. Women are involved in agriculture, in post-harvest, in a lot of other activities. The more you promote women in agriculture, the more effective your agriculture is going to be. And women need to be involved in every aspect of it.
Will you tell something for the Channel I viewers about your future activities and going back to Washington, what you will be doing regarding the Global Feed the Future program?
Well, I think you've said it all, that I will go back and I will help to manage, along with others, President Obama's Feed the Future initiative, which is in 19 countries, including Bangladesh. We have one of the best programs here in Bangladesh, but the bulk of the programs are concentrated in Africa. And some of those countries aren't advanced as Bangladesh. And so the challenge will be to promote food self-sufficiency, food security, economic growth in these countries. It's an initiative that's about $1 billion a year, and it's aligned with food security initiatives of other development partners as well.
Mr. Greene, my last question to you. Would you please share the pleasant experience and definitely the unpleasant ones, if you have any?
I have been in Bangladesh for 7 years, 5 years in the 1990s and more than 2 years this time, and I love being in Bangladesh. I hope to come back for a third time. I'd love to make 10 years. I think the people of Bangladesh are the most industrious, friendly, creative, and resilient people I've ever met. And I love working here in development because this is a place where you can get things done and you can see the development before your eyes. You know, the only unpleasant parts of this city is, of course, the traffic, but when you get there and you see and you have a chance to talk with and interact the marvelous people, you forget about that very quickly.
Thank you, Greene. Thank you very much
thank you
for
very
giving
much.
us time, and wish you will be back for the third time to serve Bangladesh.
I certainly hope so. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Have a nice time. প্রিয় দর্শক, আপনারা এতক্ষণ ইউএসএআইডির বিদায়ী মিশন ডিরেক্টর মিস্টার রিচার্ড গ্রিন তার কাছ থেকে শুনছিলেন যে উনি ইউএসএআইডিতে কর্মরত থাকাকালীন সময়ে উনি কী করেছেন বাংলাদেশের জন্য। ইভেন এর আগেও উনি একবার বাংলাদেশে কাজ করেছেন এবং উনি আশা প্রকাশ করেছেন যে তৃতীয়বারের মতো আবার বাংলাদেশে কোনো নতুন দায়িত্ব নিয়ে আবার উনি এখানে আসবেন। প্রিয় দর্শক, আশা করি ভবিষ্যতে আপনাদের সঙ্গে আবারও নতুন কোনো ব্যক্তিত্বকে নিয়ে হাজির হব। সেই পর্যন্ত ভালো থাকবেন, সুস্থ থাকবেন।